You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Floors Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
Hello friends, and welcome to Wayback Wednesday. I'm your host Randy Adcox. Glad you could join us tonight. So happy to have you with us. Got a lot to talk about tonight, got a lot to cover, got a lot of pictures to share with you. And as usual, I want to start off with a few thank yous and a couple of announcements. If you remember from last week's show, I mentioned that they're doing a major cleanup this coming weekend, in fact, Saturday morning from 9 to 3 at the Unity Cemetery. This is a great cause here, great people putting this thing on. Got a lot of local sponsors. For those that are not familiar with the Unity Cemetery, it's one of the larger African-American cemeteries in the city. It has graves going back to the 1800s. A lot of prominent African-Americans buried in that cemetery, and sadly, it's over the years have become really overgrown and just it's almost impossible now to get in there and for the family members to visit their relatives' graves. So a couple local gentlemen, Samuel Battle and Tarek Pittman, got together and put together this effort to try to get some community support and go in there and clean the cemetery up. And so they've been working on it for the last 2 or 3 weekends. So they've gotten some work done, but they've got a lot more to do, and they could really use some more help. And so if you're not doing anything this Saturday morning, you get a chance to get out there. They'd love to have you come out, and they asking for any amount of time. They don't need any money. They're not asking for any money from anyone, just a little bit of your time. So if you can come out and drag a limb out of the way or cut down a bush or anything to help the cause, it would be greatly appreciated, I'm sure. As usual, we've got some folks who are just really instrumental in this show. Some of you, I've said before, I do this show for you, the viewer. I get a kick out of it. I learn something new every week. But this, to me, the whole point of this show is you, the viewer, and what you get out of it. And so it just warms my heart to know that there's so many of you who have really kind of gotten behind this show. And so I want to thank you for that. And there's too many to try to list everyone, but certainly Mr. Eric Dawson, Harold Winstead, Bob Marriott, Randy Harold. We're going to show some more of Randy's pictures tonight. So all of you that call in, I don't always recognize your names or your voices when you call in, but I do appreciate it. By the way, I've checked the phone. We do have dial tone tonight. 407-1111 is the number. Feel free to call us anytime during the show. Share your memories, your thoughts. And before we get too far into the pictures tonight, I wanted to kind of go back, and as we often do in this show, we go back and kind of previous shows will overlap with the current shows. And you know, if you've watched the show on a regular basis, you know I do try to be accurate. Lord knows I'm not always, and thanks to those of you who kind of keep me on my toes. But I realized after last week's show that I had a pretty severe error in something I said. I wanted to straighten that out this week and just clarify that. And it boiled down to what I was trying to pull from my old memory that's not as good as it used to be, admittedly. But if you remember from last week's show, we were talking about the Firestone. We're going to go back and Lee, go ahead and pull that first picture up if you would. Those that saw the show last week, you'll know we were talking about this picture here. That's the Firestone store to the right behind these people who are walking down the street. And I made the comment last week, kind of offhandedly, that this was right across the street from the current Central Cafe. Well, those of you that are more astute and more knowledgeable about old Rocky Mountain history and even current Rocky Mountain surroundings, you know that was a mistake. In fact, I went to Central Cafe this week and had lunch, and I looked at it, I said, oh, I was wrong. This is actually a block south of Central Cafe today. And so when I realized that I was mistaken, in fact, Eric called in last week, and during the time he called in, it didn't register in my mind what he was saying, but he was one of the ones that called on that was on the wrong block. We were calling this right across the street from Central Cafe. And again, this is a block south, catacombs across from the City Hall building down there, corner of Church Street and Western Avenue. The next picture, Lee, let's go ahead and jump to that next picture, because This next picture coming up here, you go. This is the intersection today, and you can see that is the same building those four folks were walking past many, many years ago. And as I said, this is a block south of the intersection where Central Cafe is, and we'll show you that in just a minute. But there's a lot of history here in this part of downtown Rocky Mount, certainly all up and down Church Street. You know, for many, many years, Church Street and 301 were both fairly major thoroughfares. And of course, there were a lot of we talked about the car dealerships are up and down Church Street, and certainly motels up and down 301. With fairly close proximity here to the train station, so literally within walking distance of this area right here, there were 3 or 4 hotels. So this is an older part of Rocky Mount, certainly a very historic section of Rocky Mount, and it's kind of neat. Oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello there, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, hey Randy, I just want to say something about you had a picture there of an Amoco station back there years ago.
Yes, sir.
I recognize that. That was right there beside the river, between the river and Milton Drive.
Oh, okay. Down there across from David Cook's garage.
Convenience store, about 1975.
Uh-huh.
It was right there. The B&S starter and generator was right behind it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of across the street, catty corners from the car lot up there, Jack Medlin's Used Cars.
Exactly.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, all right. Thanks for calling and sharing that with us. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you and goodbye.
Yes, sir. Okay. But as I said, this was the Firestone store. I'm not sure exactly when it moved and left this facility here. I think the city of Rocky Mount now has this building. But in any case, Lee, let's go to the next picture, because this next picture is actually the intersection. There you go. Now you see on your left there's a Central Cafe. Of course, many years ago it was a Duchess. And directly across the street from it is that building, a little flat top building there that is currently, it's occupied by, I think it's H.D. Pope, the same folks who own the funeral home, have a limousine service in that building right there. And Eric came by to visit me this week, Eric Dawson, and was sharing with me that many, many years ago there was a Mr. Warren had a service station right there in that location. That building has long since been torn down, and this building here has been put in its place. But there was a Mr. Warren, I think it was William Warren, run a Warren service station at this corner for a number of years. And of course, during that time, the restaurant across the street there would have been the Duchess restaurant. And of course, now it's Central Cafe. So anyway, I wanted to clarify that. It really bothered me when I realized that I was a whole city block off of what I had said a week ago, and I said, I've got to make sure I get that straight at the next show. So now we've got everything ironed out where the building's supposed to be and where they were, so we can move on. All right, Lee, I'll tell you what, let's go to the next picture here. This one here is one of the ones, another one, and we're going to show you quite a few tonight from this Randy Harold collection. And there's a little blurry, little fuzzy picture, and I'm not exactly sure about a date from this. I'm going to guess sometime in the, I don't know, late 40s, early 50s maybe, Bugs Behringer Studio. And it was located on Western Avenue. And if you go to the next picture, that building is still standing, this space is still standing, and this is how it looks today. As you can see, at one time there was a Williams Printing Company in there. They have long since gone. And I'm not sure what's in that space now, but this is that building where Behringer Studio was at one point. And it's right around the corner. If you were to turn here to your left and go a little bit further down, you'd hit Howard Street, of course, and around the corner on Howard Street was where Charlie Killebrew had his studio at. So both gentlemen did some marvelous photography work for many, many years in Rocky Mount, and it was just kind of neat that they were so close together. And I'm not sure, I want to say, maybe someone else remembers this, I want to say that Bugs Behringer actually moved to another location at some point. I don't think he was here during the entire time, but I could be wrong about that. But in any case, this is a studio, and I think I found back, I don't know, 62, 63, something like that. The address was right here, 129. So anyway, okay, Lee, so let's go ahead to the next picture then. And this is actually a group of pictures. If you remember from last week's show, or a week before perhaps, we talked about the 1967 centennial celebration in Rocky Mount. And I stumbled across a neat resolution, if you want to call it that, I guess is what they refer to it. The North Carolina General Assembly in the 1967 session put out this neat resolution about the City of Rocky Mount centennial celebration. I'm going to, a few paragraphs here, but it's fairly short. I'll read it. It says, a joint resolution of commendation and congratulation to the City of Rocky Mount on the occasion of its centennial celebration. Whereas the City of Rocky Mount was founded in the year of our Lord, 1867, and whereas the City of Rocky Mount has experienced and promises to continue experiencing growth in area, culture, population, education, and industry, and whereas the citizens of North Carolina and their representatives in the General Assembly are proud of the City of Rocky Mount and its history of growth, and to wish to properly commend the city on the occasion of its centennial celebration, and now therefore be it resolved by the Senate, the House of Representatives concurring. Section 1, the General Assembly takes pride in the City of Rocky Mount, its history of growth, and its contributions to North Carolina. Section 2, the General Assembly, on behalf of all North Carolinians, extends to the City of Rocky Mount its commendation and congratulations on the 100th anniversary of its charter, to be recognized the week of May 20th through 27th in Centennial Celebration Week, and calls this observance in attention to all people of North Carolina, with the hope that they will join with the citizens of Rocky Mount in the celebration. Section 3 says the Secretary of State shall cause a copy of this resolution to be sent to the mayor and the city of, the mayor of the City of Rocky Mount. And Section 4 finally says this resolution shall become effective upon its adoption, and the General Assembly read three times and ratified this 10th day of May, 1967. So it was kind of neat that the North Carolina General Assembly put this really glowing review of Rocky Mount's centennial celebration out. And Rocky Mount's had some problems of late. We've had some issues that concern many of us. And this is not the same city that many of us remember as a child and growing up here. So things have changed for sure. But there's still a lot of good people in Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount is still a great town to be from. And I truly believe our best days are still ahead of us. So anyway, this next series of pictures here are from the celebration, from the 1967 Centennial Celebration and the parade that was a part of that celebration. So Lee, let's go ahead. There's about 5 or 6 of these. We just go through them and spend just a few seconds looking at each one of them. I just thought they were neat. See a little kid there dressed up. Here are the original bushwhackers. There was so many different groups. There were several groups of men who participated in this. There were women who participated. A lot of the men grew beards or mustache or goatees. A lot of the women dressed in period-appropriate attire. And Westcott's take on that was Kentucky Fried Chicken franchisee back in the day. And there's Colonel Sanders up top there. There's a whole bevy of mail-order brides on a wagon there, being guarded by a couple of guys up front with shotguns between their legs, it looks like. I remember this celebration. I remember when we celebrated the 100th birthday, if you will, of Rocky Mount. I don't know that I was at this parade. I want to say we did go. For some reason, it seems vaguely familiar. I was a little fellow then. But in any case, this was, the only centennial celebration I'd ever heard about. As it turns out, they're not too uncommon all across the country. There have been a lot of cities who celebrate a 100-year anniversary of their chartership. But this was ours. Oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello, caller. You on the air?
Hey, Randy. How you doing?
Hey, Harold. How you, buddy?
Fine, thank you. The old centennial parade brings back a lot of memories to me, of course. I was president of Rocky Mount JC's in that year of 67.
Oh.
And we had a lot of fun with the beards and the hats and the long dresses, etc. And I'm surprised that you're not just flooded with photos of the centennial year, because so many activities were going on.
Well, I'm sure there are other photos. These were just happened to be a handful that were in the collection that Randy Harrell sent me.
Yes.
And when I
may have a book with some photos. I'll get those to you.
Well, please do, and I'll be more than happy to share them on the show.
The one that you're showing now shows the Goodyear store over across the railroad tracks. Mm-hmm. Parade there.
Yeah.
And that's where the Goodyear dealership was before Wayne Troll came to town and built a new building.
Now,
the new franchise.
roughly where is this on Church on Main Street?
I would say across from the Belt Tyler store.
Okay.
Main Street. And speaking of Belt Tyler's, the first, second photo you showed of the Firestone store there, you could see next to the Firestone the annex that Belt Tyler's expanded into during the years that they were outgrowing themselves downtown, I guess, prior to moving. And for many years they had like a fabric division there that went out to Church Street, of course, around that Firestone building, and directly across the street from the Western Auto.
Right. Okay.
In fact, the one that you're showing now appears to maybe Roscoe Spate riding into the truck there.
The driver?
Yes.
Okay.
But maybe I can get some of those photos and share with you soon.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I sure would, and we'll put them on the show.
Okay, buddy. Thank you very much. You're doing a good job.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Lee, is that the last one in this bunch here? Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll tell you what, bring it back to me. This is a good point to take our first commercial break for the night. We've got a ton of pictures. I brought about 43, 44 pictures a night, so we probably won't get to them all, but we've got a bunch more to show you folks. So if you need a little break or rest or get a little snacky poo again, go take care of that business, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Wayback Wednesday in just a minute.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Flores Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service, we offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family, and we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Flores Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
And we're back. Folks, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Wayback Wednesday. I'm Randy Adcock. So glad you could be with us. During the break, we had a call. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I just kind of casually put out the request that if anyone had any information about the Peachtree Street Bridge over Tar River. We were trying to figure out roughly when that bridge was put into place. Obviously, it's not as old as the bridge over from Falls Road across the river. But we had a caller call in, and he said he had been doing some digging, some research himself, and hadn't been able to find anything except he made contact with someone who lived over in that area and said that around 1994 the state came through there and I guess talked to the people around that area of Peachtree Street and gained the right of way to continue with construction of the roadway and the bridge across the river. So best we can tell, sometime around 94, 95 that bridge was built, the Peachtree Street Bridge, I should say, across Tall River down there at Rocky Mount Mills. And that fits in because I thought I remembered that bridge got damaged during Hurricane Floyd in 1999. And the caller said that was true, that the river got so high that it went over that bridge. We got a call. Let's get this call. Hello, caller. You on the air?
This is Bob League.
Yes, sir.
Tell you about the bridge over Tar River at Peachtree Street.
Yes, sir.
That was, I'm pretty sure I'm within probably 6 months one way or the other, but it's basically 1998.
Was it 98? Okay.
Right. I worked with the city and was familiar with that project.
Okay. Well, that still fits in. We knew it was sometime before Hurricane Floyd because it did get flooded over there during Floyd. So
I can tell you, as an example, the layout of Falls Road and Peachtree Streets as a one-way pair of streets.
Yes, sir.
Took some 35 years of planning and in the works to get it done.
Wow.
So
wow.
It takes a long time to get some of these things accomplished.
I guess it does. How long have you been working on this Sunset Avenue corridor project, you think? 35 years?
Well, just right now there's a study being done, but that's all. It's just a study.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, look, I thank you for calling and sharing that with us. So we're about to nail this down. So sometime around 1998, give or take 6 months.
That's right.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, there you go. You know, one of the things I love about doing this show not only is hearing from you, the callers and the viewers, but also, as I said before, you know, I learned something not only about the history of Rocky Mount during doing this show, but I also learned about things like that. I didn't realize what was involved in a major road renovation like that. So there you go. All right, Lee, let's jump back into our pictures then. And this next picture, I should say, was an undated picture, but obviously it's Buck Overton's barbecue. Just guessing by the cars, I'm going to guess the mid-late 1960s. This building, of course, is still there too. It's now being occupied by 3 or 4 different businesses. There's a gun and pawn shop in the left-hand side of it. There's a U.S. Cellular's got a cell phone store, a satellite store there. I think there's a smoke shop in the far right-hand side of it now. But this was, you know, one of Rocky Mount's premier barbecue restaurants for a number of years. And, you know, I was reading an article earlier today, doing a little research for the night show. I don't know what happened to the plans. The previous caller just mentioned about plans for roadways and so forth. In 2006, maybe some of you are familiar with this, but in 2006, there was an effort underway to get Rocky Mount designated as some kind of barbecue capital of the South. And I don't know whatever happened to those plans. I don't think it ever came to fruition, obviously. But at the time, you know, we had certainly Buck Overton's barbecue. We had Bob Melton's barbecue. There was Josh Bullock's barbecue. Right down the road, there was over in Nashville a couple of barbecue, Doug Saul's. And so, you know, Rocky Mount certainly had every right to claim the barbecue capital of the South. But this initiative or this effort to get it publicly proclaimed or nationally recognized as such, I don't think it ever materialized. But the article I was reading was dated from, sometime in 2006. And so if anyone knows any more about that, give us a call, 407-1111. But in any case, Buck Overton's barbecue here, again, I'm guessing from the late 1960s, just judging by the cars in the parking lot. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next picture then, if you would. This next picture is an advertisement from the city directory, and I believe this is from 1956, 1950 city directory. And if you'll notice the name here, this is the Central Service Station. Now, keep that name in mind, it'll mean more to you in a minute. And then look down there at the street address, it says Church and Thomas Streets. So this is on the corner of Church Street and Thomas Street. And in 1950, this was the Central Service Station ad in the 1950 city directory. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next picture now. And this next picture is that actual service station on the corner of Church Street and Thomas Street. And if you look to your right, on the corner there is Central Cafe. And so, you know, this predates my memory of Central Cafe. I knew that there was another location other than the one around the corner. If you come right around this corner there, and then on Thomas Street, and just so you know where you're at here, to your left, headed south on Church Street, would be the Sears building down there, just a little ways down. But if you headed north on Church Street, when you get to this intersection and turn left, just a little ways there to the right would have been what I remember as the earliest location for Central Cafe. But this location right here predated that one, of course, and I'm not sure when they moved from this location right around the corner to the one that I remember as a child growing up. And of course they later moved from here to the one down on Church Street across where we were looking at earlier. But this was the Central Amico service station, and of course the Central Cafe restaurant. Yeah, they're in the same building. I'm not sure how that was laid out on the inside, but in any case, it all looks to be one structure there with the service station in one part and the cafe in the other. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next picture then. This is an oldie goldie here, and it took me a while to figure out. Oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello, caller. You on the air?
All right, that picture you were just looking at right there where Mr. Glasgow had that service station.
Yeah, let's back up one, Lee.
Flat Stone wound up running that place. I think he married Mr. Glasgow's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that service station there for a good long while. And Flat Stone and his wife had two daughters, Sheila and Sandra Stone, that lived in the neighborhood where I grew up. And they used to have a picture out there where the younger daughter had a restaurant showing Flat Stone's wife working on messing with repairing and taking apart a large tractor trailer truck tire.
Oh, wow.
It was a very interesting picture to see a young woman dealing with something like that right there, but that was a very interesting picture to look at.
And it was taken at this spot right here?
Right down that corner.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is the first, I don't recall seeing this particular picture. Another thing that was struck me about this picture, if you notice just to the far right of the picture, that looks to be the top of the tobacco warehouse.
That's right.
Which one was it?
That's going to be where Mangum's #1 warehouse is. That's the place where Bullock's Furniture Store has their lamps sale at. That building, Mangum's #1, was...
Yes.
It was built in 1922.
Okay. There you go. Okay. All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good one. Okay. Okay, Lee, so let's go back then to that other picture. There you go. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out where this was. It doesn't look anything like this now, but after doing, and by the way, I don't know if you can see it on your TV screen, in the picture, this was captioned as Consolidated School, Nash County. Well, I'd never heard of a consolidated school in Nash County. But lo and behold, after doing some research and digging, I was able to put two and two together. This was later years Rocky Mount High School, and then in later years afterwards, it was the R.M. Wilson Junior High School, and it's now an apartment complex over there. But this is one of the few pictures I've ever seen in this. This is early 1900s, I'm guessing, but the basic building is the same. In fact, Lee, if you go to the next picture, you'll see the, I've got my pictures out of sequence again here. There's the Duchess. That should have been before this picture. But anyway, obviously that was, that's where the Central Cafe is now. So in any case, this was Dutchess before it was this Central, of course, and now it's Central Cafes. Okay, Lee, go to the next one then. There you go. There's the intersection I meant to get to earlier, too. This is today. This was a fairly recent Google Earth picture taken here from Google's folks. But as you can see, there's Central Cafe there on the corner of Western Avenue and Church Street. Okay, Lee. There should be, and I may have, okay, the picture I was hoping to show, I guess I forgot to put it in this group, and I apologize. I had another picture of the Rocky Mount, Rocky Mount High School. That was a later version of that picture I showed us a few minutes ago, but I forgot to put it in here apparently. But anyway, this is a Fairgrounds drive-in. I can't say I remember this, but in later years, I believe this was the same location where Pat Ezel opened up Pat's Drive-In. This looks to me, just again by that car there in the foreground, sometime early 1960s. I'm not sure which model car that is. Maybe someone else recognizes it, like an early Cadillac maybe. It's hard to tell from this particular angle. But there we go. Someone knows. Got a caller coming in. Let's find out. Hello, caller. You on the air?
All right. That's Mr. Motley's place out there where the old fairgrounds was. It was a kind of a local beer joint hangout. It faced is sitting right in there. It was sitting right in there on the spot where the Food Line grocery store is right now at the Oakwood Shopping Center. It was on the property of the old Rocky Mount Fairgrounds.
Okay, so this was not same place where Pat Ezel had his place?
No.
Okay.
Basically on the corner of Tarver Street and Fairview Road, and it was right there just inside the front gate, main gate of the old fairgrounds. And the fact that it had a beer license when the fair come to town, they had to shut that place up because you could not be selling any alcoholic beverages on fairgrounds property. That was a state law.
Okay.
And that little room out there on the right-hand side right there was completely built out of beer cans stacked on top of one another and latticed together with wood strips in between them. And it was a place that was kept very clean. You could eat off the floor in that place.
Wow, well that's neat.
Mr. Motley that run that place, he used to talk about he was old enough to, he went to work with the Atlantic Coastline Railroad as a very young person about early 1900s when the ACL Railroad first got started.
Wow.
And it was on the property that the Chandlesses owned, who had the fairgrounds back in those years.
Right, okay. All
right.
Thank you, buddy, appreciate that. Okay, well that clarifies that. It didn't look like the building that I remember from Pat's Drive-In, but I wasn't sure, so I'm glad Eric called in and clarified that for us. So, Fairgrounds Drive-In, early 1960s, and long gone, obviously. Okay, let's go to the next one then. This next picture is a very old picture, obviously. It looks like in this picture, that's a dirt road there, but this is Falls Road looking north. And I've seen similar pictures, and I've got some other pictures of Falls Road when it was dirt road instead of paved. And but this is one I can't quite figure out where this was at. I kept thinking I'm going to ride down Falls Road and try to see if any of these houses are still there. My guess is some of them probably are, because there are some really, really old houses on Falls Road. But if anyone recognizes any of these pictures, give us a call. Like I said, I couldn't, from the picture, I couldn't tell exactly which block of Falls Road this was. But the caption says, view of Falls Road looking north. So I'm guessing it's down near the Church Street end of Falls Road. I would think it's got to be. But exactly where that's at, I can't say I know. Okay, Lee. Let's go to the next picture then, and this next picture is actually, we've got an ad first. I'll get to the ad. There's a picture in the ad, obviously. This is Mr. Ed Fuller's SO Service Center, and in let's see here, I think this was, I thought I had a date on this picture, but I do not. Just looking by the truck there on the side and the car by the gas pump, behind the gas pump, I'm guessing this is probably early 50s too. Anyway, this was located at 150 North Church at Thomas Street. And obviously Esso in later years became Exxon. But anyway, interesting here, Mr. Fuller offered U-Haul service, and that's something that I thought was fairly recent, but apparently in the 50s you could get U-Haul trailers rented then too. But he sold mufflers and certainly gas and oil. Did mechanic work, I'm sure. Looked like he got a 3-bay garage there. So in any case, this was I want to say I got this in one of the early city directories, but I'm not exactly sure which date it was. Somewhere in the early 50s, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so today, Lee, let's go to the next picture then. And I think this is, there you go. This is the spot where the station was. Of course, it's not there now. This is there on the corner of, Church Street and Thomas Street. And you can see across the road over there that that building that's built there now where we were talking just a minute ago about the Central Cafe. And obviously it's long gone, but in any case. Okay, Lee, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead then to the next one. And this next picture is an old one too, and it's a little grainy, but it says, the caption was Interior View Griffin's Drugstore. Griffin's Drugstore. I went and did some digging. I found some information in a 1910 city directory, and Griffin's Drugstore in 1910 was on the corner of Main Street and Tarboro Street. Now, I don't know if it was on, which block, which corner it was. The address in the 1910 city directory just said corner Main Street and Tarboro Street. So this building, I don't remember anything about Griffin's Drug, obviously. It's way before my time. And I'm not sure, my guess is there probably many other businesses, in fact, occupied this space in later years. But in any case, very old. If you notice the ceiling in this building too, very, very common type ceiling in these old turn of the century buildings downtown Rocky Mount. There's a name for that. I forgot what it's called now, but they were like panels, square panels, and a lot of the old banks, a lot of the old drugstore buildings, and so forth. It was very, very common to see that kind of ceiling in these old buildings back then. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next picture then. And this next one, this is from 1923, and it's the High Club. Here you go. This is the picture that I was thinking I was going to show you earlier. This is the front of the Rocky Mount High School in 1923. This was the same building. And Lee, let's skip back a few, if you would, back to that consolidated school. It's like 6 pictures back or so. It's really, really old that I've said it was the original Rocky Mount. Okay, keep on going back. I'll let you know when you get there. Keep going back. Right there. If you notice the entranceway to this building, and particularly the archway, and then there's like segments of stone that make up the outside of the walkway there going into the building. And all right, now let's go back to the picture we were just at, the 1923 Hinocker building, picture I should say, and you'll see it's the exact same entryway, and those students are standing out in front of the school there in 1923. So I'm not exactly sure when that first picture was taken. My guess is early 1900s. Go on, Lee, keep going. You got one or two more. There you go, right there. Like I said, this was actually captured in 1923. We got a call. Let's get this call. Hello, caller. You on the air? Hello, caller.
Randy.
Yes, sir.
That school building that you were looking at was the old Battle School.
Oh, really?
It was either the Battle School or the Wilkerson School. Those schools were built about 1922, 1923.
Okay.
And you can see at the bottom of the thing it says Nash County.
Right.
But Bassett, Battle, and Wilkerson were all kind of the same area. That's when Edgemont was the high school.
Okay.
Then Edgemont moved over to where R.M. Wilson was.
Okay.
They made Edgemont a grammar school.
Okay.
But that school picture you had was either Battle or Wilkerson, I'm pretty sure.
Well, now, I'm thinking, I went to Wilkerson myself. I don't think it's Wilkinson. It very well could be Battle, but the reason I thought it was the same building as this building we're looking at right here on the screen now is because of the arch over the door, and if you look to the left and right of the doorway, there's a segment of brick and then a segment of white, and a segment of brick is, you know. And
the archway is not the same thing as it was at Edgemont.
Okay. So,
I think pretty sure the school was Battle, but it could have been Wilkerson because they were built at the same time by the same plans.
Well, it could have been, because when I went to Wilkerson, it was a little different, and it's different now, of course, too. They've remodeled that school over the years, so it's certainly possible it was remodeled from the time that it was built in the time I went there. So that
I'm almost certain that was Battle School, which is at the corner of Franklin and High.
Gotcha. Okay.
They built those schools. They brought the crews in and they pitched a tent out there, and all the workers lived in the tent while they built the school.
How about that?
Is that something?
That is. That's interesting. Okay.
Okay, Randy.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling in. Okay. All right, then. Lee, I tell you what, I'm about to get my commercial time about got away from here. Let's go ahead and take a commercial break. When we come back, folks, I got some more pictures to show you. We've got, at least another dozen or so. We probably won't get to them all. But anyway, when we come back, we'll get right back into more pictures, and we'll show you some more of old Rocky Mount. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Floors Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
Local businesses in Wilson, Nash, and Edgecombe counties have something to share with you.
Call Summerlin Oil Company for all of your fuel and propane needs, commercial and residential. We're a family-owned business since 1992.
Come see us at Framers Alley in Elm City.
We will frame your treasures at great prices with 30 years experience.
Over 100,000 items out for your view. New items arriving weekly at the State Buyers Bargain Center.
Brought to you by WHIG and these fine businesses.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service, we offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family, and we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
And meal preparation to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Floors Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
And we're back. Okay. When we stopped the break, we were looking at the 1923 picture from the High Knocker. And, I got to agree with the call in earlier. I do believe that was probably the Battle of Wilson School because I had seen it myself and didn't register with me that picture was captured in Nash County. So the R.M. Wilson School, old Rocky Mount High School, later R.M. Wilson, obviously was in Edgecombe County, so that couldn't have been that school. So I'm guessing, caller, you're probably right. Probably was either Bassett or Wilkinson. That our type of architecture, as you say, was very prominent, very popular back in the early 1900s and 1920s and so forth. So by the time I went to Wilkinson School in the 1960s, that school had been remodeled a few times. And oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
All right. We're going to clear something up for you before you got completely away from pictures from the earlier part of the program.
Okay.
Showing the front, that older picture of the front of the Firestone store.
Yeah.
The building that was off to the left of it that somebody called in and said was where Belt Tylers had a remnant business and whatever in. Before Belt Tylers ever went in that building, that was the first location of where Sears Roebuck had a retail store and a catalog location in the back of that building. And then later on, Sears Roebuck outgrew that building, and they moved down there and built their store later next door to the Masonic Temple.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And if you go take a look at that front of the picture you showed, that showed Ed Fuller's Esso station, where you can see the front of it, I think the sign off to the left looks like the sign of what would be the Sears sign on the front of that building.
You're exactly right.
And right next door to Ed Fuller's Esso station.
Yep, I see that. I see that.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right, bye-bye. Yeah, Lee, if you would, let's go back, because I've got the printed copy of that picture here in front of me. Go back a couple more to that Ed Fuller Service Center. Okay, that will be the location today, but go on back. I think it's one more back, and you'll see what, there you go. Off to the left, you can see the Sears sign over there. Let me get this caller here. Hello, caller, you on the air?
That school looks like Wilkinson School to me. I went there, I couldn't swear to it, but it looks like it. I went there in the 30s, late 30s and early 40s.
Well, you know, as other callers said, they used that same style of building for several buildings, and it's entirely possible. Like I said, I went there in the 60s, so it had been changed a little bit by the time I went there.
Yeah.
But it very well could have been Wilkinson or Battle, either one. Those schools are very similar.
Yeah, they are.
They sure are. Okay. Thanks for calling in. Bye-bye. Okay. But yeah, you can see in this picture here, this is obviously from the city directory, but if you look up to the left there, you can see the word Sears, and that's the Sears building there to the left of the picture. To the left of the gas station there. And obviously the gas station itself is gone now, but the Sears building is still there. I think one of the banks has got that property now. But in any case, Eric was right that it was right there beside Sears. So, okay, Lee. So let's jump back in. Number 24 will be our next picture. And number 24, there you go. This was from the 1950s, it looks like, as well. And the Jewel Box here on Main Street down there. And I did some little digging around and tried to see if I could find some more pictures. And I actually found two other pictures. One is an advertisement. We'll go ahead to the next picture, Lee, if you would. This next picture a little bit, well, this is an advertisement actually. It got zoomed in there somehow or another, but that's okay. This was just showing the address. So you can go to the next picture, Lee. And there you go. This was, I think this picture here was probably somewhere around 1952, I think. And if you notice right above the doorway, the real intricate glass above there, and then the tile on either side of the doorway at the bottom down there. Oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello, caller. You on the air? Oop. Hello, caller.
Hey, how you doing, Randy?
Hey, good. How are you, sir?
Good. This is Randy Errol from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, good to hear from you, buddy.
That picture you're looking at there right now, that little small building there on the left is the jewel box. The one there beside it is actually Fox Jewelers.
I said it backwards. You're right. I said exactly backwards.
Yep. That little small building is Fox Jewelers. And if you go back a few weeks ago, you had a George L. Parker Jewelry.
Yes.
And that encompassed both of those buildings. and Mr. Fox made the right-hand side of that building into a smaller building. And that's Miss Lillian Fox standing in the middle of that picture right there. This was one of her personal pictures that she gave me many years ago.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember you had told me about this, and I misspoke, but you're exactly right. I had them backwards. But we've got them. Lee, go to the next picture while I've got Randy on the phone here. There you go. There's a current picture of it today. Kind of hard to see with that tree there. But in any case, when's the last time you were in Rocky Mount, Randy?
It's been just a few weeks, actually. I'll be back in town February 13th for a day or two, and then maybe a week in March.
Okay.
Talk about some things back then when I get there.
Yeah, love to. Love to see you when you get in town. Give me a buzz.
All right.
All right, buddy. Good to hear from you. Okay. All right. Yep. Jewel box, and I think it said Fox Jewel was the other one, and I've got some pictures too. I don't have them in this grouping right here, but I do have some pictures. Well, we've actually showed some in past shows of Fox jewelry, and I've got a little information Randy shared with me too. But anyway, let's go ahead and lead to the next one then, and there you go. That's that ad. There you go. 128 Southwest Main, I think is the address there. But in any case, all right, so let's go to the next one then. Okay, there you go. All right, this picture was actually captioned as John T. Etheridge Plumber. And I don't know Mr. Etheridge. Maybe someone recognizes him. And I don't know, there was not a date with this picture, so I'm guessing it was probably about a design of these sinks here. It looks like perhaps somewhere in the 1930s, maybe 40s. Very old design sink there, and knobs there. My parents' house, where I grew up, had some very old fixtures, and that house was built in the 1930s. So I'm thinking this was probably that same time frame, 1930s, perhaps 1940s. But anyway, this was Mr. Etheridge, and apparently he was a plumber in this time frame in around Rocky Mount. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next one then. We're getting kind of short on time. We want to get through all these tonight, I'm sure. But anyway, this is Joiners Athletic, and the address was 124 Tarboro Street. And so I did a little digging, and I was actually able to find a picture of, well, actually it was a Google screenshot of the same building today. So if you notice the ornate brickwork across the top up there, and there's some design work around the windows themselves, and then right above the name Joiners. So if you look at this next picture, Lee, go ahead and bring to the next one. And you still see that ornate brickwork at the top up there. This space was, for many years, the church supply store. I think Daniel Shoes was in it for a while. Been a number of businesses in this building over the years. And I think it's something either in it now or something getting ready to go in it. I rode by here not too long ago, and there seemed to be some activity going on inside this space. So I want to say it's a restaurant. Don't quote me, I could be wrong about that. But one of these old buildings that's still in use and being rehabbed, and love to see these old buildings saved from the wrecker ball. Okay, Lee, so let's go to the next one. This is a really old picture here, 1940s, 30s, perhaps late 30s, early 40s. But you can see Bullock Furniture there. I think J.C. Penney's is there. There's Effords. This is obviously standing roughly in the middle of the railroad track looking south. Far left portion of the picture down there would be down toward the train station and the Rex Hotel and the Cambridge Hotel and so forth. Really old picture here, and not sure whether this is one of the Charlie Killebrew or Bugs Behringer pics, but really neat old picture nonetheless. Okay, Lee, we just got a call. Let's get this call here. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. You on the air?
Hello?
Hello there.
Okay. Yeah, and also in that same picture right there, you can see clear evidence of right there in front of where Bullock's Furniture Store was, that there's 3 sets of railroad tracks right there. And where Bullock's Furniture Store used to be before J.C. Penney's was in that corner, that was the crossing there would have been where Hill Street crossed into Nash County and became Western Avenue.
Mm-hmm. I hadn't even noticed that, but you're exactly right. I've seen the 3 sets of tracks there.
3 railroad tracks there at that crossing.
Yeah, sure can.
All right.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. Okay. All right, Lee, I think we got time for one more. We'll call it a night. So this last one is actually a postcard, almost the same view. And I'm not sure this is one of the old postcards from the collection that John Taylor had or not. I know he had a bunch of postcards, but anyway, this is just undated postcard. Again, I'm guessing probably from the 1930s or 40s perhaps. I'll tell you what, Lee, bring it back to me. Folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. We've run slam out of time. We've got some more pictures to show you. We'll save those for next week's show. And I want to thank again all the callers who called in and shared knowledge and wisdom and helped keep me straight. Thanks again to Randy Harrell. Most of these were Randy's pictures, and I've got a bunch more we're going to be sharing with you in future shows. So thanks again, Randy. Folks, it's my pleasure to be with you each week. I enjoy hearing from you, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show and keep your calls and come to us. And it's been my pleasure to be with you tonight. So have a great week. Take care of yourselves, folks, and be kind to each other. We'll see you next week with more Wayback Wednesday. Good night.
Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
Local businesses in Wilson, Nash, and Edgecombe counties have something to share with you.
Call Summerlin Oil Company for all of your fuel and propane needs, commercial and residential. We're a family-owned business since 1992.
Come see us at Framers Alley in Elm City.
We will frame your treasures at great prices with 30 years experience.
Over 100,000 items out for your view. New items arriving weekly at the State Buyers Bargain Center.
Brought to you by WHIG and these fine businesses.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service, we offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family, and we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
And meal preparation to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Flores Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.